Everyone, welcome back to another episode of Beneath the Lift Tower. My name's Charles McGillivray, and as always, I'm joined by Jess Kevill and Simon Stacey. We're a fans podcast by fans for fans of Northampton Saints. How are you both doing?
Good, thank you.
Good. It's a bit, obviously no Saints rugby to talk about, but obviously we've got lots of representation, I suppose, so we won't bore the listeners too much with England, but we'll go into it. How do you think the Saints boys did? Saints back line playing for England.
You mean Saints?
Yeah, it was awesome.
You mean Saints? Yeah. Wasn't really England, was it?
Yeah, I mean,
most of the points were scored by Saints, but yeah, no, it was really good to see.
Yeah, I thought Dingwall would just make. I mean, it's hard to tell because whilst Italy are a much better side, I think they've had the bubble burst a bit this tournament. You know, I think France did it last week, and so they're not the side that we sort of from the beginning of the tournament where they were really pushing teams.
Yeah.
But I thought, still Dingwall makes a massive difference, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I think someone described it as it on the thing. It's like he's like glue in terms of like bringing everyone together and getting everyone to work really well together. I also think he's actually really good individually, but I do think his USP, if you want someone in the centre, is someone that can bring everyone together. I think even, I can't think of which commentator it was that said it, that was always like, we seem to think that at test level we have to have kind of these individually brilliant people. He said, why is there not room in the test arena for someone like Dingwall, who actually, like I said, brings everyone together and gets everyone working in harmony together. And I said it is really hard to judge because it was Italy, and let's be honest, they're a better side, but they're still not the threat of a France or an Ireland or even a Scotland to some extent, are they? So it's hard to tell. And then obviously we've got Wales last, and I don't know if that's necessarily going to either be like the biggest contest. Maybe they'll surprise everyone, who knows. So yeah, it's hard to tell, but obviously I can only imagine really with Ollie Lawrence out that Dingwall is probably a shoe-in again for next weekend anyway. So maybe we'll see what happens there. But yeah, it is really, really difficult to tell when you aren't up against the threat of some of the other sides. But I still think it just adds a dimension that they are missing. It's nothing personal against Henry Slade. I never ever felt he matched up to test international level. I just didn't. I think he was one of those that he'll go down, I think, as one of the best domestic players. It's just sometimes it doesn't translate, and I don't think it translates. I think they changed up their defensive style, and part of that was like, this is the test for Slade to see if this new defensive style works for him better, and I just don't think it does. I think that's that aspect of his game that just isn't at the level it needs to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting what happens in the future. So like I said, Ollie Lawrence, that's going to be long term, isn't it? So you've got to also think that Dingwall is probably going to get himself in the kind of summer and autumn international fixtures, really give himself a chance. You never want it to happen because that happens to another player, but he's got to take that chance and grab it, really.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity, like you said, because he came in and I think the word that people say, he's a glue type player, and that's just because he does what he does excellently, like really high standards. And what he does is make other people look better and communicate really well with them, plus do all the nuts and bolts that get over the ball. He must have hit as many rucks as any other player, right? And when you think centres, you don't think they just whack rucks, but a lot of them do, because they're the first man on the scene half the time, and it's there to do that. And he does those. His distribution is excellent. His timing at the line and composure at the line is excellent. He trucks it up well. He defensively, not only is he physically and hits hard, but his sort of reading of the game from a defensive point of view is second to none. And is he the physical presence that Lawrence has? No, he hasn't got that explosive pace and power of a big man like Lawrence, but he's still solid as anything. He might have to hit a bit lower than Lawrence because he can't, go tall and hit the ball. But technique gets him through that because he's spot on technically.
Well, that's the thing, though. They're both very different. It's why I was really looking forward to them two as a centre partnership, because Lawrence is much more, you're like, get the ball, bash his way through whoever's in front of him. And Dingwall is not that type of player. Like you said, he's kind of the offload player, is bringing other people into it. So I thought they would have made a really good combo. But obviously, we only got, what was it? He went off after 8 minutes or something. So we didn't even get a chance to see what that could look like in any way, shape or form. So it'd be interesting what they want to do moving forward. I don't know if they've called up a Jomu into the side, but it'd be interesting what they want to do, because I think there's different things they could do. I still think that they would benefit from maybe moving Freeman into the centre and having a Daly on the wing. I think the difficulty you have is that Freeman's been playing really well and has scored a try in every single match so far. I still think he's a better centre, and I wonder how well that might work with him and Dingwall, because they've also got that existing relationship. And Daly is one of those players that really can just play anywhere. I actually thought he was fantastic against Italy, to be fair. So I wonder what they might do there, or if they leave Daly in the centre. But I feel like you might get a bit more, maybe bringing Tommy in. I don't know. So it'd be interesting what happens there.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting, because I also think that Daly brings an awful lot of what they want.
Yeah.
From fullback, like he's not as good as Furbank in my view, right? But he brings a similar style of game.
Mm-hmm.
He's that player who's willing. He's got the pace to get on the outside and willing to attack and really stick it back to the opposition in counter attack, which is what Furbank does. But he does it with real sort of power and presence in attack at least. He's got his weaknesses. We don't need to go into Daly's weaknesses, right? But he does offer that, which is similar to what Furbs offers. So against Wales, I'd be tempted to say, no, let's stick with Daly at fullbacks, and then maybe Fremo goes into 13. It'd be phenomenal, or bring in another, a Joe or an Oscar Beard or something.
It's also difficult.
You've got to give people a chance, haven't you? You've got to give them another chance, especially against Wales, because we can still win the title. That's the thing. I knew France would do us a favour against Ireland. I wish I'd just put some money on it. But the thing is, like Jess said, and the commentator said it, I've always said this, and I think we all have, about Dingwall being the glue of Saints, because he is the man that brings everybody together. His skill set's there. He's not the big man, but he tackles 3 times his size. And I don't think he did anything that deserves him being dropped, if I'm honest. And the only reason they picked Slade is because he's another kicking option. He's left-footed, isn't it? I'm getting that's another reason, one of the main reasons, because he can take the kicks. And I think that's almost cancelled out now by Daly, isn't it? Because he is the kicking option and probably a better all-rounder than. He is, so exactly. It'll be interesting. I think Daly's a better version of Slade because he's an all-rounder. He's a lion, for Christ's sake. Do you know what I mean? I know he's was he 33, but he's still got skills. He's still got pace. So I'd pick him then.
Daly's
I think that the difficulty they would do have moving forward is obviously his age and how long he's realistically got Daly at international level. So I don't think it's someone where you can rely on that being a long-term prospect moving forward. So they're going to have to do different things at some point. But I can also see when there's still a chance for you to win the title. I don't think it's going to happen. I can't see Scotland beating France, but you're in it, and even coming second, because if we get 5 points, we will come second. You can't be caught at that point. Would actually be a really, really good result. So there's still a lot to play for. I don't think the title's going to happen. I can't see France. France they didn't play as well as they wanted in the first 2 rounds, and they've just been on a crazy mission in the 2 weeks since then. But
they don't have Dupont now, though. They don't have Dupont. He's got his
ACL, but then you saw how well they played with Luka. I think I don't think he gets enough of the kind of conversation because the starting 9 is Dupont, but I still think they'll be able to perform against Scotland, to be honest with you. I mean, anything can happen. I'm not going to write it off because the sport is crazy and anything can happen. But I think we're realistically playing for second place, and I would say second place above Ireland is actually a really good result, I would say.
Yeah, and go back to your point.
Like we said, when we played Ireland, sorry, Charles, when we played Ireland, they weren't the Islander. We should have beaten them. We should have beaten Ireland. It was a game of 2 hours, wasn't it? They're not the Ireland of old. And Scotland on their day, look at the players they've got. They could beat France. France are going to beat Ireland away and then lose to Scotland. It can happen.
Very French, yeah. Yeah, to go back to your point, I mean, about Dingwall, yeah, of course you wouldn't drop him. He was really, really good. Like, so it's all a case of, right, because Lawrence is injured, what do they do and how do they work it out?
What's the partnership at that point? Because I think you've also got the other difficulty of Marcus Smith did a couple of good things, but he's so woefully bad defense at 15, and it showed. He let a couple of tries in where he just went for someone and just was so far off where he's completely out of position. Like, that isn't, I know they want to keep him on the pitch. I mean, he was obviously dropped and obviously had to come on, but they still want to keep him involved. But I don't see how they do. Honestly, I don't see it. But especially with the difficulty now is that Finn Smith, I think that's going to be really hard to take that back off of him with the way that he's playing at the moment. I mean, he missed one kick at the end, didn't he? Even though he'd made harder ones throughout the game. He missed one, didn't he? He just laughed about it at the end. But I think that becomes really difficult. I think Finn has that shirt for the foreseeable future at this point. And so it's interesting what happens with Fairbank coming back. I don't see a route at least into that starting side for Marcus Smith. I feel like this Six Nations feel like it's really highlighted that to me.
Yeah, I think it's just a different game, isn't it, that he brings? It's what
he
brings a phenomenal skill set at a certain way of doing it. You know, he's going to go and win you the game. Whereas teams, it's very hard to do that international level. He's done it, don't get me wrong, but it's hard to consistently do that against the best team in the world as well. So I think the 9, 10, 12 axis for England is now pretty much cemented as the Saints axis of 9, 10, 12. You know, because Lawrence got injured, Dingwall's going to probably get a really good run in that shirt. And if he performs as well as we know he does, you know, he's not going to put in a performance where he deserves to get dropped, because he doesn't do that. You know, he doesn't give you anything other than, you know, 7.5, 8 out of 10 every week. So it's very. I think he's probably in that jersey for the long haul now, because and it just depends on whether they partner him. Say they partner him with, you know, Jomo or with Slade, etc. It's a case of when Lawrence is back, they'll inevitably want to get him in the side, which is you know, a long way off now. Might be during the summer, perhaps, depending on how it recovers. It'll be a case of the person he's coming in for will be whoever's coming in, you know, Slade or whoever. I think.
I mean, it looks like again, not a medical doctor, but it looks like an Achilles injury, doesn't it? Which I think is a pretty long term.
6 to 9 months.
6 to 9 months.
Horrible.
So it was awful. That's how it's like someone said, you know, it's bad when they've gone down like that and there's no contact involved. Like they've done something.
Been shot by a sniper.
Whereas with obviously the DuPont thing, it was just an unfortunate tackle, just twisted his knee.
See, I'm surprised that didn't get looked at. I'm surprised that wasn't looked at.
It did. They dismissed it. I don't think there's anything in it. The tackler's not even looking at his leg. I don't think there's anything intentional in that whatsoever. It's just unfortunate. Like,
yeah, he fell on it. It wasn't a crocodile roll. He fell through.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, and it wasn't there was a red card not hugely long. It wasn't someone deliberately tackled the leg. They didn't tackle his leg. His leg just got caught in the movement of. They did apply, and the citing commissioners did look at it, and they dismissed. They dismissed it essentially. It's just unfortunate. It's just a huge injury that has one of the world's best players out for probably a similar time frame, isn't it? Like 6 to 9 months, something like that.
That might do us a favour if we can go longer in the competition of the European Cup without him in the Toulouse team. That could help us a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if we're playing Toulouse, and we're really gone well. So
yeah. I got to say though, another obviously like to pick out a different player. I think Mitchell was back on form because I don't think he's quite been where he's wanted to be for the tournament, and I think that's probably part form, but also part kind of game plan. Obviously, they just threw the old game book out of the window for this one because I reckon he didn't box kick for the first a ridiculous length of time, and they'd obviously finally kind of realised that that's not the way. It's not the way to unlock that backline, is it? And I don't just mean the backline when you add in Dingwall and make it more Saints. I just think, in any way, the players that he seems to have picked are ones that want to run that kind of game, and yet the game plan seems to be, well, we're not actually going to do that. And I'm like, well, what's the point? Again, though, harder to judge it against an Italy side where you can just kind of throw the rule book out and go, you know what, you can just kind of go for it. But they just look it's just so much better and much more exciting brand of rugby when they do it.
Yeah, because he's thrown away his rule book and gone, hang on, I've got players that can run, so let's just not kick the ball away every 5 seconds and realise
I don't think that's remotely true. If I'm being honest with you, I think they went in with exactly the same plan as they go into every game. But the thing is, in this game, because they were playing Italy, they won the territory battle. So you could. Mitchell did kick. Smith did kick. They won because the defense was solid enough. They managed to get down the opposite end and stay down there. And so therefore, when they attacked, they were attacking in. They had more time in Italy's half. You have more time in Italy's half, you're going to have an attacking ball.
And that's it. You change your tactics to who you're playing, and so that's the thing. We were. I think they said we're the biggest kicking side in the whole of the Six Nations, but we didn't kick much away. And to be fair, you're saying about Marcus not getting back in. Finn's out of hand kicking was epic again. The amount of meters he made, the kicks out of hand.
Some of those kicks he made to get us out of danger were absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
To do those, he did two of them. To do two of them under pressure, and even the commentators were like, "That's ridiculous to be able to do that under that kind of pressure."
He was kicking.
I know you two agree, but I said I called it at the start. I said they shouldn't be playing Marcus, just a flamboyant young man that's the poster boy for everybody, and we knew that our Finn, the right Smith, was the one that can make it work for England, and it's proven so. And I don't think he's getting out that 10 jersey any soon.
No, but I make the point. It's like England kicked, like Saints kick a lot, and but when you kick, you get into the opposition half. You can play. If we had played against, Finn Smith put those amazing defensive clearances in from his own half, and he was getting England into the half. Getting the line out into the halfway line. Italy have got an attacking line out on the halfway, and England are starting to smash them back defensively. Get turnovers, and then you've got a penalty in their 10-meter line. You're kicking, and you're in their 5-meter line trying to rumble over from a line out, whatever. If they'd played South Africa, they would have done exactly the same tactics. If South Africa had allowed them to play to get into their half, they would have played in exactly the same way. Look. You have to win territory. It's a territory game, mm-hmm. and if you haven't got it, no team is running the ball left and right in their own 22. They're not even doing it in their own half. But Italy weren't that good. England won the kicking game, the territory game, so therefore we're allowed to play rugby. And then the problem is against Scotland, Finn Russell was dominating with his kicking game whilst he was on. That England were constantly under pressure. And at the end of the day, it worked for them because they won the game. But
yeah.
I mean, it's worth saying. 2 try scorers as well. Freemo and Slytone. Slytone getting 2 tries.
Yeah.
Well finished, both of them. The first one, he had no time to move. Got it, and then the second one with that offload from George of all people. Hell of a finish on.
I got to say though, that the offload from George is great, but the offload from Mitch to George was something else. Like, exactly. Yeah. He had about 0.1 of a second to react to that ball, and so he just went boop, and there it was. It's just absolutely ridiculous. That's what I mean. He was on such good form, Mitch. Great.
And I think Freemo, like you said, 4 and 4.
4 and 4.
I'm not sure there's been a player to score for England in every single game in the Six Nations. The last person to go 3 in a row was Ben Cohen.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
That try was really well finished. His one. Talk about slides, but that was to kind of keep on top of the ball, and like he's actually running at quite a lot of pace because he's got to get there first to be able to pick up the ball like that. Like, he didn't have to kick it. He just scooped down, picked it up, scored that was ridiculously well done, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, Garbisi should have put him should have absolutely smoked him. The defense, yes. But he did everything but right to finish it perfectly. It was great. Both of them showing themselves to be international standard in terms of finishing.
Yeah, I mean, Italy had some really good. They did have some really good moments. I mean, that combo of Melancello and Brex is world class. It's ridiculous. I reckon you could put them in any team. Any team would probably have them as a pairing. They're absolutely ridiculous. It's just unfortunate that the rest of it wasn't working, because I think them two as a pairing tried their hardest to kind of keep them in it as much as possible. It just wasn't. Like you said, it's like they make strides forward, and then it it's not even just that it peaks. Sometimes it does just go a little bit backwards, and you're just begging them to get some kind of consistency because you really love to have competition in the competition. But
yeah, they sort of like like I said, it's like the bubble burst. Like they came into it,
yeah,
they were really good, making things. Games are tight. Obviously beat Wales,
yeah,
and then France just put an absolute score on them. And it's like, well, they're not gonna go up or down in that competition now. They'll finish above Wales, but they're not
yeah,
going up the league. And it's sort of like, when it comes to the physical sort of duress that they're going to have to put their bodies through to get results, they seem to be able to do it in those crucial big games when they can stand up
yeah,
and do it. But once you haven't, you've got nothing to win almost. It is just at that point a test match, and they don't seem to have to keep it up. It's
especially this year because they're not going to get the wooden spoon. I think that's
yeah.
going to be Wales. But it just feels like fifth for them is almost last, because at this point Wales aren't, again, nothing again, they're just not a competitive side. Like, we never really thought they were going to be a competitive side. They didn't look at going into it. Then you lose your coach halfway through. It just wasn't going to work for them this tournament. So really, Italy are you're thinking that it's like a 5-team competition. They've come fifth, like, and they probably will come fifth, because I think it's probably going to be it's probably going to be France, England, Ireland, Scotland, and then Italy, most likely. Thinking about what the most likely outcomes are going to be. So it's just, it's unfortunate, but but that's also, again, why it's difficult. It's difficult with the England to performance to be like, how great was it? Because I would actually say on balance, it was for parts of it, and there were other parts where we actually kind of looked pretty dross. It's also, again, though, hard in the second half when you've got double the amount of points of your opponents. You've won the game. You've got a game next week that might potentially give you the title if another result goes your way. You just switch off. You switch off and you think, I don't need to put my body through it because we've got an important thing. And so, there's a lot of criticism for how much they turned off, but it's got to be so hard mentally when you've won a game, and the game next week could end up being so important that you just mentally back off slightly.
Yeah, exactly. I think they had that 20-minute spell where they were but they also had a lot of disruptions of injuries, and they finished the game early in the centres. I think it's hard, like you say, it's hard to motivate yourself when the game's done.
Yeah,
you start looking forward and stuff like that. And I think also they started playing it a bit safer and they started pinning the corners a bit. And that's the gamemanship of Smith coming into play as well. He is a 10 who's going to win a game. He's not a 10 like Marcus Smith at 10. It probably would have been better coming on with that in that spell, because he probably would have had a bit of energy and take people on, and his physical prowess would have come into play. But when you got Finn at 10, it's like, right, we've won the game. Let's just pin the corners, close this out.
Yeah.
Get in the sheds and have a beer. It's like there's a different mindset. One is, not that attacking, but he is a very, very astute 10 who gets the game done.
Yeah.
And it's probably from a Saints perspective, probably on a few times this season we've actually been falling foul of that a bit. We've looked to close out games and we've tried to do it too soon.
Yeah.
And we should just play and keep running teams off the park, but you start thinking, right now we'll pin the corners and whatnot, and it comes back. They need to
bring all of them need to bring that form back with them, though, don't it? Because I'm not saying that you can't have 5 in the backline when you're 8th in the table, but we need to be climbing. You need to be climbing a little bit, really. So hopefully they can kind of bring that form and stuff back with them, because we need it domestically. Because they've all played themselves into some good. Like I said, Alex, I thought was really, really good against Italy. Well, they all were, but I think he kind of stood out for me because I think he had some improvements I think he needed to make based on kind of previous performances. So, he really stepped up. So yeah, it was good. And we do slight scorings now. He tied his dad's record, and now he's gone past his dad's record by a couple. So he's now officially scored more tries than his dad. Yeah, the highest scoring Sligo. Yeah, which his dad, I think John will love that. Like, if it's gonna, if you're, you can't not love it.
Yeah. Mentally proud.
That was awesome.
You mentioned the wooden spoon. So when did that? I always thought you only got a wooden spoon if you lost to all the teams, not just finished bottom. Because they were saying Wales lost to Italy, so technically, if they lose to England, they've lost all the gap. They should get the wooden spoon.
They've lost. They will.
Yeah, wooden spoon. The bottom team.
It's just the bottom team.
Bottom team.
But it's also going to look worse for them that they won't have beaten anyone, most likely. I'm saying this, and they could cause an upset next week, but I don't see it. But
yeah, 99% of the time, the Six Nations, the team that finished bottom hasn't won.
Well, no, but they were saying that they could actually finish fifth, couldn't they? Because they got did they get their bonus point against Ireland? Yeah, they did.
No, technically, there's a chance for them to go above. They'd have to get 5 points, definitely. But yeah, there's a way for them to go above, I think. But
it's not defined. You know, Wales could, if Wales win, then they should go above Italy. But we're just being realistic and saying they've got about 1 billion in one chance of actually winning.
Well, they actually did come back and show some good rugby at the 20, 30 minutes, didn't they?
Yeah, but I can't see it.
I'm not trying to defend them, trust me.
No. I don't think I think the competition is better when all of the teams are competitive. Just at the moment, we've got one that definitely isn't, and another one that's still struggling to be consistently competitive. And then we've got an Ireland and a France that haven't, at least Ireland, the whole competition, I agree, they've not been at 100%. France weren't for the first 2 weeks, but they've just rectified that to insane degrees. Like, yeah. So yeah, I think France are going to be the winners, but I think, if we can come second, I think that's actually genuinely a really, really good result.
Yeah, I'd say.
You want to win, obviously.
Yeah. No, I think it is. I don't think there's much between those three teams, actually. I think Ireland's biggest, people, Borthwick's obsessed with it. He's in the press all the time saying about, how they're so familiar because they play with each other at Leinster and all this sort of stuff. I think it's actually to their detriment a bit at the moment, because I think when Leinster get a bit of a lull in form, that just translates into the national side. You can't, you can't sort of select anyone else because there's no one operating or challenging for those. It's such a settled environment both for Leinster and Ireland. If Munster were, just as good as Leinster and every position was a real 50-50, they'd be off the wall good, I think. But I think because they're so set, they lose a bit of form at Leinster, and it translates across, and that's where they've struggled a bit this year, because Leinster aren't quite the behemoth that they were before.
Yeah, it's why I was surprised actually that they performed kind of so. Not that I wasn't surprised they lost. I genuinely thought that France were going to win that, but just how poor they were, considering who they were sending off as well. They were, that's no more games. I think that's their final home game, isn't it? So that's it for O'Mahony, Murray, and Healy. I thought that would kind of buoy them up a little bit, and it just, Healy got his try, towards the end, but it's been a strange kind of tournament. So it does mean that, like I said, that kind of top three, there's not actually a huge amount separating them. I still think we've got a ways to go to compete consistently against other top teams. I still think we're a way off. There's still work to be done, but yeah, I can't deny that seeing a third of the team be Saints lads is pretty special.
Yeah, it's amazing.
What's the category for if it's level on points? Is it points difference first?
Yeah.
Because surely if we get 5 and they get 4, we'll be on level. But we beat France, so surely shouldn't that go?
I don't think.
No, it does. It does points difference. It does points difference first, and theirs is over 100, and ours.
We're never catching up. But I'm just saying.
Ours was actually in the minus before that game. So it still isn't going to be fantastic. It's on points difference. Then I think it's on tries scored or something, and then I think it goes to who won the game between the two.
Head-to-head shot would be, but then also you play home and away. You don't play each other home and away. So,
but I feel fairly confident that both us and France are going to get 5 points.
You don't. Yeah, you never know. You never.
No,
know.
You never know. But that's probably where I'd put my money.
Scotland will lose on purpose. They don't want to help the English, do they? They'll just lose. They'll just now we're not giving them the title.
Nah, that's to beat France is just a huge scalp for anyone at the moment, isn't it? It's a thing. Like, it's a big. But I just think the past 2 weeks they've just been in like an untouchable mood. Like, after not performing as well as they wanted in the first 2 weeks, they've obviously had a talking to, and it's just they're showing exactly why they were one of the favourites for the World Cup, even though it did not go their way, because it never seems to at those tournaments. But
and that sort of ties into what the stuff Borthwick said as well about, because he said about how the Leinster side are certain Leicester, Irish, etc. so one and the same. That they can hit tournaments running because they're all used to each other, etc. Whereas with England and with France, because they, I know France have got the Toulouse link, which helps them, but it's sort of they've got better as the tournament's gone on because they're building those connections through a camp. Whereas you sort of think if this tournament had another way to go, a few more games, that England and France would only be getting better, whereas Ireland are probably at their peak. So it's interesting. But, it's been a really interesting tournament from that point of view. But really, in the context of a Lions year, you got to think Tommy Freeman is playing his way onto that trip without a shadow of a doubt. He's going.
Yeah.
And then when you think about the 10s, I mean, could Finn Smith be a 10?
I think so. I think it's going to be in the conversation. It depends how many they take. I mean, I'm assuming that they're going to potentially take 3 9s and 3 10s. I don't know. They might take 2 of each. It's interesting. It's also interesting from the 9s perspective, because I've got to say that Mitchell's got to be up there as second or third choice. So you've got Gibson Park, who's probably number 1.
It'd be second, surely. Yeah.
I would say he's got to be second, Av. So I'd say he's got to go, unless
Mitchell's got to be going and competing for that 9 jersey. It's not
exactly.
Second, I would say. I'd say Gibson Park's a great player, but I think
his age is
age is irrelevant in a Lions story, isn't it? But
if he goes and it's his last Lions story, it doesn't matter, does it? So.
You play a lot of games in a short space of time, and he's a lot older than Mitch, isn't he? So recovery's harder when you get older.
Yeah. But I still think he's probably going to be, thinking of who they've got to pick from out of those countries, he's probably still your choice. Probably still going to be the choice.
Yeah, and you think then at 10, if they take 2, it could just be Faz and Russell. But then if they're taking 3, it might be the fact that Marcus could cover fullback as well. So then you got Marcus.
Why are they going to take Farrell though? Only because of his dad. But
he's also like one of England's all-time greats. I mean,
he's not apparently he's not playing very well over there, from what I've heard.
I don't know what his form is like. I think he'll be part of the I think he'll be part of the conversation. I'm not sure that he's a definitive to go.
What about Courtney?
Yeah, I think it's Courtney should be, but you never know, do you?
You never know. He wants to, and he's definitely put his name forward. So it's just what kind of happens from.
It depends on what
from there.
What they think is required. Like, do you need to be in the Six Nations to go? Is it or not? It's all one of those ones. It'll be interesting
because we know that Andy Farrell, from what I can tell, hasn't been going to watch he's been watching the Six Nations games. I don't know what his attention has been like on others. It will kind of be what he kind of thinks, because obviously if he is going to go on Six Nations people, that would be Faz and Laws out, wouldn't it, as options? So it's interesting.
They're probably all over the place, and also it's one of those ones where you could probably take, if you're going to take 3 fly halves, you could probably take Faz as one of those 3, and if he's not quite there to be a starter, it'd be more than fair enough to be a midweek 10 or and around the camp driving standards, etc. So it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
You're now talking. You're the glamour boy of Marcus Smith. That's the poster boy of England. Not even in contention though. Well, you're saying Russell, Finn, Smith, and.
I think if they take 3, it will be one of the Smiths. It's just what they, like you said, what they want. Because yes, you could argue that Marcus Smith gives you more options around the park, but he's just not very good in them. So that becomes the question: is it still a risk?
I think
it's hard, but
I think that's a harsh statement to say he's not very good in them. I think he is.
Yeah, I really don't think. I think he's so out of his depth at 15. Genuinely, I think he looks like he's out of his depth as well. When he's getting ready to do defensive plays, you just get the impression that he's just not confident in that, and so that then becomes a problem of what happens when you're at the Lions and you're playing a team that, again, Australia strike me as a team that like to play running rugby. So maybe I haven't seen them in a while, so I'd have to kind of have a look at them before. But
Australia have played some good rugby, but under Smith, they're quite narrow in their attack.
Yeah. So it's he may still go, but no, I think if you're going to take him as a versatility back, I'm not sure about it.
If he's
I'm not saying he's bad. It's just he's so poor defensively. It becomes that is the question, isn't it? It's like he can do the magic things. He can do the kind of, his try I thought was absolutely fantastic, but I also think it's cancelled out by the fact that he definitely let one in that he shouldn't have. So it then becomes those questions of kind of margins. It's going to be tight. It will be tight. I mean, it's hard for us to sit there and go, oh, we think they should take Finn, because at the end of the day, we support that team. So it's kind of hard.
It's the starting 10 for England, so why wouldn't you? And you're about Marcus. If Marcus is defending,
but the thing is, I think if they take 2, there's a chance that neither of the Smiths are even in the conversation.
They'll have to take at
least
take
3.
Like
I think they'll have to. Yeah, I think they'll have to. It's too important a position, isn't it? Really.
You have 2
if Smith's tackling was better, he'd be a brilliant 12, because he'd have all the kicking as like a Farrell, but he's not, and it doesn't matter about size, because you look at Dingwall. Dingwall's like insane. He's not the biggest, but he absolutely hammers anybody. So I think Smith would be awesome at 12 if he could tackle.
You say he's not the biggest, but he is big. He is bigger than Marcus. Like Marcus is
he's bigger than
actual person. Full stop. It like Dingwall's like
he's not an Ollie Lawrence, is he? That's what I'm saying. The centre normally is huge.
No, but also Ollie Lawrence is just crazy.
Well, Ollie Lawrence is a big physical man.
Stocky, well built versus tall. Yeah. I think at the moment you'd say Freeman and Mitch are going to go, and then who knows after that, to be completely honest with you. I still reckon that they'll chuck in a sneaky uncapped person in there somewhere, which could be anybody. Let's be honest.
Do that.
I think anyway. That's part of the rules, isn't it?
No.
Yeah, it's like an old, an official rule. They always take an uncapped.
Yeah, like an unofficial one. Yeah.
But
I think there'll be a really good England contingent in there, because I think maybe 6 months ago we were all assuming it would be all Ireland, but I think you've got to take Tom Curry, otherwise you've just lost your mind. That guy has been ridiculous this whole tournament, so I think he gets in there as an England prospect. I think there's a few in there that can really. I think Lawrence would have genuinely challenged for a place before that injury.
It'll be 50-50 Ireland, England, and then there'll be a few Scots / South Africans in there, and then you'll get a token Welshman.
Kiwis, don't forget Kiwis.
I think
already a few Kiwis.
I think Jack Morgan for Wales is actually genuinely playing some really, really, really good rugby. So if you're going to take a Wales person, that might be who it is, but who knows at this point, really.
Jack Morgan is a good player, don't get me wrong, right? I'm not criticising Jack Morgan, but the position he plays is one of the most high standard competitive positions out of all of them. Van der Fleer, Curry, Earl. Like, there's just 3 players off the top of my head that are above him in that 7 jersey.
Earl doesn't play there. He plays in the centre.
But that's sorry. Whilst as good as Jack Morgan is, he doesn't get there like on merit, in my view, in terms of.
It's a hard one, but I can't think who else you would take from that Wales team outside of him.
I think you take the third choice scrum half, which would be Williams.
Which would maybe be Williams, yeah.
And I think you could Liam Williams. You could take him or Josh Adams if they're fit, because I know they've not played the last few games because they're not being fit, but. They are Lions, aren't they? They're just a bit older.
Yeah.
So that you put them in there, they run out on a few midweek games for you, and they hit your token Welsh quota. Not going to let you down.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think you've probably got... I think Curry's got to go. I think Mitch and Freeman have got to go. I think Atoji will go. That guy's just a man mountain. Like, he's worth it just for kind of what he does at a line-out for you, to be completely honest with you. Outside of... I actually think I was... not questioning his captaincy. I was honestly questioning his sort of selection for a bit, because he kind of dipped in form, but I think he's been really good in this tournament. So I think there'll be some really good English representation in there. I think unfortunately Ireland is still going to take a fair few.
But I mean, I think from a Saints perspective, I think the one that all depends on how far we go in Europe. But if Furbank can get flying and go really well, I think he's got an outside chance if we go well in Europe. If we take it to
He said that on when we interviewed him, didn't he? He said
that was his dream.
That's what he dreams to do, but because he's broke his hand at the wrong time of the season, broke his arm.
Yeah.
He said it's literally the wrong time. He says, I don't think I've got a chance, but I think he has because there's not.
I think he has. I think he's one of the standout 15s in
the Irish fullback's going to be
in the hemisphere. So but
yeah.
Sorry, remind me of the Irish fullback.
Jack Conan, isn't it? Conan,
that's it. Is it
during an absolute blank.
Keenan. He's a class player. Like I think he's probably the starting 15, and then you Blair Kinghorn, who might also go as
of course,
as a 50-50. You might, he could play 10 in one of the midweek games.
Yeah.
Training.
So confirms.
I think Blair. I would say if you're going to pick a 15 who's been the best in this tournament so far, you'd be hard pressed not to say Kinghorn. To be fair, I mean he is ridiculous. Yeah, he's
both excellent.
He went, didn't he? I mean, is he still playing in France now?
Yeah, he plays for Toulouse.
It's completely just. It's moved his game on in such a positive way, isn't it? It's just he's fantastic. Genuinely, he's also just got one of the best names in rugby. It's awesome.
It could be more Scottish, could it?
Yeah.
That is what made me laugh. It made me laugh that you had Hugh Jones plays for Scotland and Blair Murray plays for Ireland, and I was like, you have to swap them two over because that's not right. Blair Murray in particular, I was like, what do you mean he plays for Ireland?
Hugh Jones was born in South Africa, but we won't go into that.
Yeah.
Right,
as were a fair few of them, to be fair. That's the thing. How many South Africans will go?
More British and Irish than ever before, I think.
Because you've got to think Van der Merwe is getting on there.
Van der Merwe, Aki, Gibson Park, probably Hansen. There's going to be quite. Pierre Schumann. There'll be a few. There'll probably be quite a few project players.
I mean, James Lowe has just got Irish citizenship, but he wasn't born there, and he's potentially a chance.
Yeah.
Because he's
Kiwi.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah, he'll be
insane. Yeah, they've definitely
he'll be there, I think. So.
But the thing is, maybe for the Lions, they should have a rule: you have to be born in the British Isles to play.
I think if you're going to let residents be residents, you've got to play for it. If you're going to change the residency rule so that you have to, maybe lived in the country for 6 years rather than 3 or whatever, then it would. I think if you let them play for Ireland, and you can't do that.
That's what always made me laugh about Stephen Varney when he started playing for Italy, and I was like, what do you mean? And then you look him up and his middle name is Lorenzo, and you're like, okay, so he's actually probably more Italian than you think he is. But you hear Stephen Varney and you're like, huh?
What's his name? He played on the wing for Italy. I can't remember his name. Was it Gil? No, he was at Bath. His dad he won the World Cup with
Gallagher.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to think that a lot of in the UK, there's a rich history of Italians coming over to the UK. And there's a lot of British people who've got Italian grandparents, because they came over post-war. So that's just, it's their heritage, their family. It's more than fair enough.
Yeah. I think we should just be glad that France aren't part of any of this, because I think they just knock some of the English people out, and you just chuck in French ones instead. So it's good that it's British and Irish and not British, Irish and French.
I think they'd kick some of the Irish out as well, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely.
There'd be a few starting French for sure. I mean, that's what they need to do. They need to do a French Lions tour.
Yeah.
Think of the big week games would be amazing, wouldn't they? Clermont, Waterloo, what a tour that would be. And you'd get so much support. But anyway, I think it's a good chat to have, and it's very difficult without any Saints actually action on. But it shows you there is actually a lot of still to talk about. But yeah, unless we've got anything else to cover off, we'll say goodbye to the listeners.
Yeah.
Thanks again for listening. Please leave us feedback. Follow us directly on social media. Let us know how we're getting on. But as always, I've been Charles. Jess has been Jess. Simon's been Simon. Thank you for listening.
Goodbye.
Thank you.